This is Mikhail with the Master Kit system, and in this video, we're going to show you how to overcome social anxiety by transforming your belief patterns. I'm extremely excited for the transformation you're going to experience inside this video. Let's dig in. When it comes to social anxiety, first, let's define what that is before we go into the elements for what causes it. Okay, social anxiety is when you are at home and you don't want to go out, or when you do go out and you don't feel like you really belong, being kind of alone in the crowd, or any sort of sense of judgment where you go out and you feel that other people are judging you or that you are just not enough. There's a lot of other ways in which social anxiety manifests itself, but those are some of the most common. So if you experienced any of those things, listen up because we're gonna break this down. The number one thing for us to start with is understanding where the social anxiety comes from. It actually doesn't come from society. And the label of social anxiety is a little bit deceiving. Where it actually comes from is your core underlying beliefs about yourself. Let's break down some of these particular beliefs. The first belief is unconditional love. Now, this is a terminology that is used quite often, but not often described accurately. That sense of accepting yourself fully, of being present to the moment, and of loving yourself fully and truly the way that you are, without fault. Once you're able to do that, you become immune to social anxiety. Because why would you have anxiety when you accept yourself fully? The second belief that is extremely important to realize within yourself is your own sense of individuality. You truly are unique. There's nobody else like you on the entire planet, in the entire universe. And that's really cool. The moment that you're able to process that, the moment that you're able to accept that and combine that with the unconditional self-love, the more that you'll find that a lot of these little social jitters tend to go away. And the third pillar is emotion. The ability to express emotion freely and to not feel guilt around the expressing of emotion. To understand that emotions are a part of what makes us human. They are a part of your individuality. They are a part of your unconditional self-love. And to be able to express those emotions, whether you are alone or whether you are in a social setting, if you will, without the feelings of guilt, without feeling bad, without having to apologize or justify it. And the fourth pillar is what we call finding solitude. Now, when it comes to finding solitude, you probably fall on one of two spectrums. Either you are somebody who spends a lot of time individually, by yourself, working on projects, focusing on your goals, and you find a lack of social interaction. In a way, you seek social interaction in order to complete you. Or you might fall on the opposite side of that spectrum. You might be always surrounded with people, always trying to get some space, right? I just need some space. Seeking that solitude. And what I want you to understand is that whether you fall on the individualistic side of that spectrum or on the social side of that spectrum, both of those spectrums come from the same place. From the fact that your core beliefs of self-love, individuality, and emotional expression are miscalibrated. Because if they were calibrated correctly, you would find yourself in the center. You would find yourself happy. But if you dial in to that sense of unconditional self-love, you will get more. If you dial in to that understanding of yourself as a unique individual, you will get more. And if you are able to express your emotions fully, you will find yourself not fearing that social anxiety. Because let's look at where that comes from. It's a very tribal and a very primal trigger of being excluded from the tribe. As you go and you refine these core beliefs, you're gonna notice some little roadblocks, some things that are preventing you from attaining those beliefs. The first is linked to a negative perception that you might have. The first is a negative perception of people in general. So if you have a negative perception of people, it is preventing you from opportunities and advancements that you could be making in your life. The second is a negative perception of the social fabric that we live in. Oh, well, society is bad, right? We talk about social conditioning here and social anxiety here as if it's a negative effect. It is actually a positive effect that's meant to raise these questions inside your mind. It's meant to get you evaluating some of these things that you otherwise would not have evaluated. So if you have a negative perception of society, you have to ask yourself, where does that come from? Are you afraid of expressing your emotions to where you want to just bottle them up and just be in a bubble? Think about that, break that down. And the last limiting belief or roadblock that you might have is your perception of communication itself. You might see yourself communicating with somebody and you might not have a positive anchor about that. This is very, very common if you are shy or if you're a little bit socially awkward. You might not like the way that you see yourself in those social situations. And so you just tend to avoid them altogether. Now, as soon as you get through and start working on these core principles, and that's really what you want to be focusing on, and that's what we focus on together with you inside the Master Kit system, is your ability to have unconditional self-love. Self-love that's not dependent on X, Y, or Z, on your self-acceptance and your individuality, your ability to express emotions freely in any given situation, and your place to find solitude where necessary. And that becomes extremely powerful because as soon as you set a core foundation, as soon as you reinforce those beliefs, you will find yourself immune to social anxiety. Social anxiety will simply not exist. And where will you find yourself then? You will find yourself having a very positive perception of communication because you'll realize, wow, I was able to have that communication. I was really able to shine in that moment. Maybe I'm not socially awkward or shy. Maybe I am able to shine. That individuality becomes accepted. You're able to have that shine through in the confidence that you have, in the way that you behave, in the way that you go throughout your day. And we all know that confidence has monumental returns on investment when it comes to career progress, relationship progress, you name it. And last but not least, your perception of communication itself will change. We can't really put a price on that. On being able to look back at your day when you wrap your day and say, wow, that was really amazing. Those people made an impact in my life and I made an impact in their life. And you'll be excited, you'll be looking forward, you'll be grateful. You'll be in a state of abundance to go into more situations like that in the future. And that's gonna create a positive effect that's going to build on top of itself. And you'll look back at this moment after watching this video, after going through the Master Kit system, and you will laugh with great joy because a lot of the anchors to social conditioning will not be there. You will find yourself freer. You will find yourself more abundant. You will find yourself experiencing joy, acceptance, and those core beliefs of unconditional self-love, of pure individuality, of emotional expression, and of the ability to find solitude will be the cornerstones that will guide you on the way. And if you haven't already, check out the Master Kit system. We're going to include a link down below. It is one of the only clinically proven processes to actually help you in these areas. As you can tell by the way that we do these videos, we go deeper. We break this down in a way that actually triggers real change because that is what it's all about. So if you haven't already, go check out the system, dive in. You're absolutely going to love it.